Good morning, students. Today I am going to describe you about the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. First, a reaction with oxygen. Both metals and non-metals react with oxygen to make the oxide. When metals react with oxygen, they form the metallic oxides, which are always basic in nature because they react with water to form the bases. Here is given the example of magnesium. When magnesium ribbon is burned in the presence of air, it forms magnesium oxide, and when this magnesium oxide is dissolved in water, it makes magnesium hydroxide, and this is basic in nature. In the same way, non-metals also react with oxygen to make the non-metallic oxides. These non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature because they react with water to form the acids. Here is given the example of sulfur. When sulfur reacts with oxygen, it makes sulfur dioxide gas, and when this sulfur dioxide gas is dissolved in water, it makes sulfurous acid, which is of acidic nature. Okay, in this activity, that is 4.3 activity, what is given here is given you have to take the sample of rust. Rust, you know what, when iron is exposed to moist air due to presence of oxygen and water in the air, a layer of rust is formed on the iron, which is a layer of iron oxide. So you have to take a small sample of rust and you have to dissolve it in water. Shake the test tube uniformly so that rust is dissolved in water. Now you have to dip the blue litmus paper and red litmus paper into this solution. You will see that red litmus paper turns into blue and blue remains blue. It shows that metal oxides are always basic in nature. So this activity is given to prove that metal oxides are basic in nature. In next activity, that is activity 4.4, this activity is given to prove that non-metal oxides are always acidic in nature. Here we have to take a sample of sulfur, and when we burn it in the presence of oxygen, it will make sulfur dioxide. Now you have to dissolve this sulfur dioxide into the water. After dissolving, it will make sulfurous acid, which is of acidic nature. How will you confirm it that this is acidic in nature? By dipping blue litmus paper. And after dipping blue litmus paper, we will see that blue litmus paper changes into red. This confirms the acidic nature of non-metallic oxides. Okay. Now reaction of metals and non-metals with water. Metals react with water to form metal hydroxides and hydrogen gases evolved. For example, sodium reacts with water. When sodium reacts with water, it makes sodium hydroxide, and in this process hydrogen gases evolved. In the same way, magnesium is another metal which also reacts with water to make magnesium hydroxide, and hydrogen gases evolved. But on the other hand, non-metals do not react with water. So this is the second main difference between the chemical properties of metals and non-metals, that metals react with water, whereas non-metals do not react with water. Now next, chemical properties reaction with acids. Metals reacts with acid to form metallic salts and hydrogen. Here is given the example of zinc. When zinc reacts with hydrochloric acid, it makes zinc chloride, and in this process again hydrogen gases evolve. So in this way we can say metals react with acids to make the salts and hydrogen gas. Non-metal generally do not react with acids. There is only one non-metal, which is sulfur. It reacts with concentrated nitric acid to form sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide and water. So sulfur is the only non-metal which react with acids, and all other non-metals do not react with acids. You have seen your mother that your mother never store any acidic substance like pickles, curd in any metallic container, because these acids react with metallic container to form the poisonous salts and hydrogen gas. So we can say all the metals react with acids, whereas non-metals do not react with acids. So this is the third main difference in the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. Okay, here is given a table in which you have to tell the name of the base. Metal always form bases and non-metals always form the acid. So you have to fill this table. Here is given one example of each metal and non-metal. For example, name of metal is given calcium, and the name of the base is calcium hydroxide. In the same way, you can fill another name like sodium. Sodium makes sodium hydroxide. You can fill magnesium. Magnesium makes magnesium hydroxide. you can feel potassium. Potassium makes potassium hydroxide and copper makes copper hydroxide. On the other hand, there is given one example of non-metal which is sulfur. Sulfur makes sulfuric acid. Another example you can feel carbon is also a non-metal which makes carbonic acid. Another example of non-metal is nitrogen which makes nitric acid. Phosphorus makes phosphoric acid and chlorine makes hydrochloric acid. So in this way you can fill your table 4.4. Okay. Here is given an activity 4.5 which is given to show the reaction of the metals with water. There are certain metals which vigorously react with water. Sodium and potassium are two metals which vigorously react with water. When we dry the sodium in this activity, what we have to take? We have to take a small sample of sodium and we have to dry it. After that, we will cover it. We can wrap it in a cotton and then put it in water. You will see that it catches fire immediately. So sodium and potassium are highly reactive metal. When they are kept in air or water, they catches fire. So they are never stored in air or water. They are only stored in kerosene oil. So this activity proves that metals react with water. In the same way, non-metals do not react with water, but they may be reactive in air. Such non-metals are stored in water. For example, phosphorus is a very reactive non-metal. It catches fire if exposed to air. To prevent the contact of phosphorus with atmospheric oxygen, it is always stored in water because non-metals do not react with water. So in this way, the next activity is activity 4.6. Here you have to tell reaction of metals and non-metals with acids. You know, metals react with acids whereas non-metals do not react with acids. So example, E, that is charcoal, and F, that is sulfur. These both are non-metals, so there will be no reaction with dilute sulfuric acid or with dilute sulfuric acid. On the other hand, there are upper four metals like magnesium, aluminium, iron and copper. Among these first three, that is magnesium, aluminium and iron, they will react with both dilute hydrochloric acid and dilute sulfuric acid at room temperature as well as on warming, and they will give a reaction with these acids, and in this process hydrogen gas will be released out. On the other hand, copper is a very less reactive metal, so it will not react with either dilute hydrochloric acid or dilute sulfuric acid. Okay, so in this way we can describe the difference between the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. Here the difference between these metals and non-metals chemical properties is given in a tabular form. For example, reaction with oxygen, metals always react with oxygen to make the basic oxide, whereas non-metals make the acidic or in some cases there may be neutral oxide. Second, nature of oxide, these are basic in nature whereas non-metal oxides are acidic in nature. Metals react with water whereas non-metals do not react with water. In the same way, metals react with acids to make the salts and the hydrogen gases evolved out, whereas non-metals do not react with acids and in the next reaction with alkalis. Certain metals such as zinc, aluminium react with hot solution of alkalis to liberate the hydrogen gas. Non-metals also react with alkali. Alkalis means bases, but their reactions are very complex. Nature. If I talk about the nature of metals and non-metal, metals are always electropositive in nature, means they lose the electrons, whereas non-metals are always electronegative in nature, means they gain the electron, they take the electron. I hope students you have understood the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. Okay, thank you very much.